I've written a lot of thumbnails and a lot of headlines for this show over the last year plus, and this by far made me the most angry. Psychos and sickos unite for another edition of PHNX Suns, coming to you live from Studio A in downtown Phoenix. As always, I'm Eric Ruby. That's Stephen Prejean-Gardner. That's Gerald Bourget. We got the Juice Man, a.k.a. Freckled Mamba, a.k.a. Ayrton, behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen, already stretching, getting ready for our men's league game tonight. And we're ready to talk about an uncomfortable conversation surrounding the future of Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns. And is this their last shot to keep him happy, or is he a Sun forever? We're going to break that down. We'll talk about some recent news that came out, maybe not the most exciting news, but we're going to share it with you either way. And we're going to get into a lot today, and some super chats and some fun and some conversations about lawsuits and stuff like that. But first things first, how are we feeling on this Wednesday?
Feeling good. Got a lot to get to today, but excited to tackle it all in this wonderful August afternoon. Steven, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited to talk some more prospective topics regarding Devin Booker and the Suns, and the accountability from both sides and all of this, and the transparency that needs to persist. So let's get to it.
Ashley in the chat says Eric in pants, shrug emoji. What do you mean by that?
Okay, Drewski.
They're back after a week. They haven't been here for a week, so welcome back,
I've been wearing pants. Yes, welcome back, Ashley. Okay, we have some super chats from Junior Garcia, starting off with, what does a trade package for Devin Carter look like? If you don't know, the Kings are reportedly, for some reason, shopping Devin Carter and Malik Monk, trying to open up a roster spot for Russell Westbrook. I can't even say it with a straight face.
That's insane.
Let me know if I'm cooking, okay?
Okay.
So let's start with the timeline where the Sacramento Kings are the dumbest.
Okay.
They're trying to open up a roster
this
spot.
Okay.
Right. Trying to open up a roster spot, and they're trying to save money. The Suns can trade Jordan Goodwin's $2.3 million non-guaranteed contract and a second-round pick, 2026 second-round pick via Denver, to the Sacramento Kings for Devin Carter. They can then cut Jordan Goodwin and save couple $1 million, save like $5 million basically, and use that money to sign Russell Westbrook. I mean, win-win situation for everybody, right?
I don't even know if the Kings are that dumb. That would be really dumb. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I mean, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So realistically,
but the Kings are dumb.
You would have to probably include an Oso Ighodaro in that trade. Salary-wise, Devin Carter makes $4.9 million. Steven, would you be willing to get rid of an Oso Ighodaro, or once it hits December, you're able to trade a Colin Gillespie, and then you'd probably have to pair them with a Nick Richards just to make the money work? Is an Oso Nick Richards package for Devin Carter something that intrigues you?
It's intriguing, but what's the ceiling for it is my question, because you already have issues in the front court. You take away Oso from that, those issues grow more loud for me in terms of playmaking and being able to do versatile things at a certain cadence. No one else can replicate that from Oso at this moment outside of him on the roster. So you have to reconfigure all of the things that Jordan Knott has already been working to establish as his process. And if you're not trading Colin Gillespie and you're bringing in another point guard that's a couple years younger, like, what are these messages sending to the pieces that you already have and that you've started to integrate into a process?
Yeah, and you're going into the season with 4 centers and losing 2 in that deal, so you better be confident in what Malwatch brings if you make that type of deal. But it's not going to happen. So
Kings are the Kings. I'm looking at Jordan Goodwin for Devin Carter. Call it in. Let Adam Silver know. Another super chat from Junior Garcia says, Devin Booker with any point guard in today's era, who would it be? who would you pair with Book if you could pick any point guard?
What does he mean by in today's era?
I would assume who's playing
Just
right
like
now.
current players.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe not right now at this given moment, but he would be up there for me. I would still say even at this stage Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday in his prime for sure.
How about another player the Suns could have drafted?
Who's that?
Shea?
Yeah.
How about another player the Suns could have drafted?
They could have gotten another one?
Luka Doncic.
Huh? Oh yeah, in the same damn draft. Any underrated ones? Like anybody that's not a Tyrese, that's not a Shea, that's not a Luka that we feel like would be a really good fit next to Devin Booker?
De'Aaron Fox.
Chris
Would
Paul.
be a very fun piece.
I hate my life.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul would be sensational. Trae Young would be immaculate on the offensive end of the floor next to Devin Booker.
Leo says Trae Young. Leo also says Tyrese Maxey. I think that would be interesting.
Maxey's not a traditional point, so it would be a little weird for me with that one. They would make it work, but it would be a little weird. I think Jalen Brunson would be fun next to Devin Booker as well for multiple reasons. More reasons than we have time to talk about it right now.
Derek White, does he count as a point guard or do we count him as a shooting guard?
Nah, he's a 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Derek White and Book would be nice though. Jalen Suggs, a good call from Matt Dennis. That would be fun if Suggs could stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a really, really fun duo with those two.
Yeah.
August. Thank you for the super chat, Junior. We do appreciate you. Gerald, the fun stuff for today. Some news on the Sun side of things.
Yeah, so if you missed it over at gophnx.com, I wrote an article. That's free for everybody. It's not the most sexy breaking news, but I did obtain a copy of a letter that the Suns sent to the attorneys for 2 of their limited partners about a bookkeeping suit that was filed a few days ago against the Suns, kind of requesting information and transparency. And I got this letter, and it's basically the long and short of it is that these 2 partners back in 2023, when Matt Ishbia took over the team, all 16 partners that the Suns had at the time were offered a buyout for their interest in the Suns, the Mercury, the company, as it's called, the organization as a whole. 14 of the 16 took that buyout. 2 did not. The 2 that were the holdouts are still partners with the team, and they are the ones that have filed this suit against the Suns. Basically, from the Suns' perspective, these 2 are trying to cash in on the Suns' current value, which has climbed past $6 billion. If you remember, Matt Ishbia bought his majority stake in the team 2 years ago for $4 billion. They believe that it's worth 6, approaching $7 billion at this point, based on the money that he's poured into the team, real estate, the new practice facility, the recent sales of the Celtics and the Lakers obviously help. The NBA's new media deal, etc., have kind of boosted that value. And so the Suns are basically alleging that these 2 partners are trying to cash in now and get $825 million out of it. I did hear from the lawyers of these 2 partners, who are Kisco WC Sports 2 and Kent Circle Investments. The lawyers issued a statement saying that our clients sued to obtain records to which they are entitled as minority owners of the Suns. They are concerned by the manager, Matt Ishbia's approach towards minority owners and want more information about certain spending and capital raises in which the manager has engaged. Transparency with minority owners is not optional, and our clients think it is critical to the success of the Suns. The certified complaint went public this morning, and after taking a look at it, they're basically alleging that Matt Ishbia and the Suns have been doing some side deals that were undisclosed, that there was a capital call with the minority owners, that the valuation is not where it should be in terms of buying them out, and that the Mercury practice facility that they built, they're asking for transparency on how it was funded and whether it affects them, yada, yada, yada. So basically 2 partners of the Suns are suing the Suns right now. And the Suns are alleging that they're just trying to cash out and get the most value because of where the Suns' current valuation is. So that's where things currently stand. If you want to read more, it's over at gophnx.com. But just wanted to give people the insight on that, since we got the breaking news for that, and some people care about the monetary side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna really speak that much on it because, to be honest with you, it's like you really don't know what's actually happening. You're reporting what you're, being told and what's being put out there in the ether and whatnot out for the public. So we'll keep you up to date as stuff continues to transpire. But that was not the only news. We actually got some fun news as well, Gerald.
Yeah, so we got the Suns announced this morning as well that they are building a new sports lounge for season ticket members. It's going to be in the FanDuel Sportsbook area of the PHX Arena, as it is currently called. It's going to be open in October, so starting next season, the home opener, season ticket members will be able to access this. It's a 6,000 square foot area that has like an outdoor terrace. It's got a full service kitchen. It's got like prepackaged snacks that people can buy. So just another upgrade to the arena for season ticket members that are able to enter this exclusive area.
How much do the hot dogs cost?
It's a good question. We do not know.
But I mean, Stephen, it's another example of Matt Ishbia making some changes and trying to do something for the fans, and in specific the fans who are continuing to be season ticket holders despite the failures of the team the last couple of years.
Definitely a cool experience, opportunity for people to tap in with. I have bigger, broader, larger questions, not just for a specific area of the arena, but the arena's entirety. Feels stale in the inner game experience, if you will. Feels like there needs to be some changes of whether it's just the in-arena music that's being played or the chants that take place that are automated. It's not like these things.
Defense.
It's been. Everybody knows what I'm speaking to. Like it's a little tired at this point. They need to reinvent the wheel on the in-game experience. One of the more fun changings of that I've seen in recent memory. Not trying to compare, not trying to start no owners beef, but Steve Ballmer comes into ownership with the Los Angeles Clippers. Obviously changed arenas literally, but changed the entire in-game experience. The music played, DJs that are involved, the chants, the lighting of the arena went from being a broadscaping kind of lighting to being more centric, like cinema type, to a stage, if you will, where the lights specifically on the court, everything else is kind of dimmed out. Not necessarily saying he has to do those specific things, but just shifting some things I think would be fun and kind of be a changing of the guard in terms of the in-game experience in particular.
Yeah, I'd like to catch more T-shirts during the T-shirt toss. That would make my experience a lot better.
Can I? How do we feel about the kicks cam, the shoe cam? Because on the one hand, it's fun. On the other hand, you've got an arena full of people taking their shoes off.
You start smelling a little musty in there.
You're like,
hey, man, but no, hey, put yours back on.
Right. Buddy, no.
The
shoe cam's not for you.
Not your socks, too. Come on.
I will say, too, though, my main reasoning for bringing this up is because you watch enough Mercury games, you watch enough Suns games, not sure there's anybody maybe in the world that's watched more of both than I have, the last 3 years at least. It's such a night and day experience. There needs to be more of what the Mercury have in the crowd. And that in-game experience that pale is no one else can compare to it in the W because of it. Start generating some of that with the men's side. Obviously, it takes winning and sustaining there and buy-in, but you can start to turn that wheel, I think.
I think so. And I think, to your point, some of the automated chants, especially with how frequently they're used, get a little bit stale. Yeah, I do think you can mix some things up. I do also think that the Suns as a product, based on some of the other NBA arenas I've been to, they do a good job of their in-game entertainment.
Absolutely.
And like the game ops people.
Wheezy is one of the best, for sure.
He's going in the Arizona 100%. Sports Hall of Fame.
Alicia is solid too.
Yeah, Alicia's solid. They do good stuff. But yeah, you could shake up the formula a little bit, modernize it for sure.
Yeah, I really want to do PA for the team. Can I be like a celebrity PA?
Do you know? I hope they understand the value of mic checks, because the last thing they need is you in
I used to do PA
in a stadium.
I used to do PA.
You used to, huh?
Yeah, I used to, and then I got in the podcasting business.
How thick was the actual foam around the microphone?
The PA told
to suppress,
you know that PA guys are all loud. Yeah,
the PA
and Vince does a great job.
It's
It's nothing against Vince. Vince does an awesome job, but I like doing PA.
The PA people told him to use his inside voice, so he started a podcast.
Defense.
And he didn't listen.
Make some noise.
You know, Eric was the kid where when the teacher asked for inside voices, he's like, "This is my inside voice," and then you hear him across the hallway.
Oh God, I would never.
We are.
Oh God. The only saving grace though was that I was actually like funny, where I like make the teacher laugh. And they'd be like, "All right, just shut up," and I'd be like, "All right, sweet."
Yeah, I believe that too. I imagine that came up in parent teacher conferences.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, enough about my history and my hopes and dreams. Let's
Shout out
talk
to all
about
the teachers out there. Y'all are not
Facts.
valued nearly enough, and never
Facts.
will be.
Especially the ones that had to deal with me.
Especially the ones that have to play parent for the kids that they're teaching.
See, my teachers didn't have to do that. They just had to tell me to shut up.
Okay.
And round my 76 up to a B.
We hope you're prospering out there, whoever you are.
Hey, yeah, that was her. It was her first year teaching. That was also her only year teaching.
No.
That was her last time teaching.
You retired a teacher?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I think that she was already done. Some kid did spill a water bottle full of vodka in class all over the desk, and she's like, I can smell that that's vodka, right? We were freshmen, by the way. And so I think that might have made her quit. She was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I wonder what that kid is up to right now.
No clue. She
Freshman
left
year?
the school
Teaching.
after that year. Yeah, she's teaching.
No, I'm talking about the kid that spilled the.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She's
Teaching.
Oh. Can we please change the topic?
Yeah, we can do that.
Why don't we do this? Listen.
Jesus.
As much as a lot of us believe that Devin Booker is one of the most committed superstars in the NBA, if he left, it would drive me to drink. And we're going to talk about how likely that is and why this might be the Suns' last chance to really keep Devin Booker happy here in Phoenix. I don't even want to say it, but we're going to go through it right after our first break. I know I look good, but it's not me, it's the hat. It's the Branded Bills hat. And if you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, well, boy, do I have the company for you. It's called Branded Bills. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. They have partnerships with 40 universities, but only one really matters. That is your Arizona State University. They also partner with the PHNX Suns, and they're a local company out of Mesa, Arizona. Plus, they partner with us, PHNX. You can get their own PHNX Branded Bills crossover hat at our locker at gophnx.com. Head to brandedbills.com. Use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. Super excited tomorrow night at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. It's time for the PHNX Cardinals residency. Starting at 4:30, it's a PHNX Cardinals live show, live from the Upper Deck Kitchen and Bar. Then it's going to be a PHNX NFL Town Hall after that at 6. And then at 7, the PHNX Fantasy Draft, which will be broadcasting live right here on this very channel, all at Gila, because we love doing so many events over at Gila. But also go for a little staycation. You can get 25% off a room on Thursday night by calling the front desk and using code CARDSFF. Plus, you can go on their table games, their live slots, everything like that. Plus, you got all the dining, and if you can't make it to Wild Horse Pass, go to Lone Butte, V Cueva, Santan Mountain. The only thing is, you do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Shout out to Boom Shakalaka, BS Murray, who's admitting to alcoholism, Kev, Dagoon, Shumdog, Kaylee, Ashley, Mark, Steven, you're in the chat. Sean's in the chat. All the stars are out here on a Wednesday afternoon. Hit your like button. Hit the subscribe button as well. It's free. So is 5-star ratings on audio. But you might want to cover your ears for this next conversation. Devin Booker just signed an extension. Devin Booker, by all accounts, on both sides, does not want out on the PHNX Suns franchise. That being said, we are in the modern NBA. We've had experiences like Damian Lillard, right, who asked out, or didn't ask out, but his team traded him after so many years of saying Dame's the most loyal guy in the NBA. The days of the Dirks and the Kobes, it's few and far in between. And the Suns are not in a position to win now, even though Devin Booker's entering his prime. So I'll start with a really big, basic, open-ended question, and we'll kind of go from there. But do we feel like this season is the Suns' last chance to impress Devin Booker and satisfy him to the point that he will not be asking out of Phoenix over the next couple of years?
No. I don't think this is the last chance. I think there's a lot more pressure on next season, especially depending on how this upcoming season goes. Like if the Suns finish with 30 some wins, 11th in the West, like there will be more pressure on next season to take a tangible step forward, so you can look Devin Booker in the eye and say, these moves that we made to get younger, knowing that we had to take a step back in order to take steps forward, this is the first season where we're taking steps forward. If you have another bad season where it's like, okay, the young pieces still they need time to grow, we haven't really progressed as a team to where we want to go, then maybe at the end of the following season, then you're starting to be more concerned. If this upcoming season is a total disaster, maybe that changes. I don't think it will be. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I also think that they're going to be a scrappy team. I think that they're going to establish an identity, and I think you're going to see some progress from young players that at least if you're Devin Booker, you can feel good about, okay, we have athleticism, we have defense. In theory, we have the skill sets around me that I can succeed with like I did before back in 2020, 2021. But long story short, I don't think this is their last shot. I think they're getting closer, but I think the fact that he just signed that contract extension obviously helps kind of smooth things over for the next year or two at least.
This is exactly why yesterday when we graded the Devin Booker extension signing, that part of the context weighed more heavily than it feeling like it was a little preemptive or premature, if you will, to when it should have taken place, relative to the time we've seen with other franchise-level players across the NBA so far. Those things taken into account, it is not the last chance at all. I think they're a little bit of a ways away from that, but with every moment that's bookmarkable that he either doesn't make the playoffs or let's say he had like 44 and they lose by 12 or 14.
Right.
And it's like the thought of what more could I or can I have done to get more out of this situation, and there's just less and less answers to come up with, the writing starts to become on the wall. And naturally you don't want to get to that point. And that's why I have the questions about Malowach and how quickly he develops.
Sure.
And the other types of pieces that they're able to attain to bring around him based off of the lack of assets that they have.
I think there's a lot of layers to this question. I think first and foremost, and you could have said the same thing about Damian Lillard, but Damian Lillard didn't want to get traded. Portland ended up pushing that decision. But the connection between Devin Booker and Phoenix is not just like a basketball team thing. Obviously, the Suns drafted him here. He's connected to the team. That's how he has integrated himself into the community. But Devin Booker has embraced the state of Arizona, the city of Phoenix, the franchise, becoming the franchise guy, more so than most athletes that ever step foot into an organization, even ones that spend long periods of time with one org. He still has exceeded, I believe, even my expectations for that. And I do think that there is this possibility that if the Suns flame out, if this iteration of the Suns doesn't work and it gets past Devin Booker's prime, I still think that there's a really good chance that Devin Booker still does not request a trade. Now, do the Suns decide to move on? I don't know. I would say that sometimes NBA teams decide that business is business and we need to do what's best for us. And Ted said something in the chat where if the next 3 years, aren't what we need them to be, then that most likely means that it's part because Book was not who he needs to be. And at that point, will the organization want him? I think you're going to get to a certain point where he's going to be having records that are unbreakable in Phoenix. And I think he values being with one franchise and putting on for that. So I really do believe that even if they don't nail this, even if they never win a championship, I don't know if Devin Booker will ever outright say, I don't want to play in Phoenix anymore. That being said, this might be the beginning of their last chance to capitalize on his prime, which maybe it doesn't come with the trade request at the end, but you still want to win a championship with maybe your franchise's best player in his prime.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they have to, I think it would have to totally crash and burn over the next year or two for Book to get to that point where he thinks about wanting to leave here. Because by all accounts, he loves Phoenix. He wants to be here. He wants to build it here. He's attracted so much superstar talent to the Valley. And I don't think that's going to change. I think he would have signed that contract extension no matter what because of the money involved. But like he wants to do it here. So it would take a lot for him to suddenly change course on that. But it's also kind of like an unprecedented situation because I think it was Mark R earlier in the chat who was asking how many like star caliber players have spent their entire career with the same franchise without winning a championship. Like when we bring up Dirk, Tim Duncan, Kobe, all these guys that Book idolizes and wants to emulate in Phoenix, they did all have that one separator of winning a title. So it's kind of a weird situation where if Book does want to stay his whole career in Phoenix, does it get to the point where the Suns are looking at a 32-year-old Devin Booker and saying, man, he's everything to our franchise, but like we've got to reset at a certain point? Does it get to an awkward place like that? Because we don't typically see that type of loyalty from a star player that wants to contend for championships. So again, these are all questions that I think are going to come 2-3 years from now. But I think the Suns, I think Booker understands what this season is going to be. I think they want to contend for the playoffs, and they could very well have a chance to do that. But even if they miss the playoffs, win 30-some games, I think he understands that like this is going to be a process. It's not going to come together in year one.
I think with the championship thing and Mark following up and saying the most recent guy to do that was Reggie Miller, and his career ended over 20 years ago. You even look at like other all-time greats, right? Like Michael Jordan played on the Wizards. Hakeem played on the Raptors. Like Patrick Ewing bumped around to a couple other teams. Obviously, we know what happened in Shaq's career. Like, you know, there's a lot of really, really great players who don't get to spend all their time with one franchise. And it's not going to be like a damper to Devin Booker's career if he's not a Phoenix Sun forever. Now, how it ends and on what terms, I think is, you know, kind of important. The most important thing to me, though, is that he retires a Phoenix Sun, right? You can see that with Damian Lillard as well. But Steven, what would you put the odds are? And I know that it's like, this is all conjecture, but it's August, so we're just talking about it. The odds of Devin Booker wanting to stay in Phoenix and Phoenix wanting to keep Devin Booker if they don't end up winning a championship in the next 5 to 6 years.
What are the odds?
Yeah, like do you think it's going to get to a point if they don't win a championship or just cut ties? Would it take Devin Booker taking a pay cut maybe just to be able to build a better team as he enters his twilight, or if he wants the money? Like what do you think is likely to happen once you get to that point?
Well, I refuse to speak for him on the money side because I'm just simply not him, and I can't relate to that amount of money in any capacity. So I know where my place is, and I'm not going to speak on that part. But what I will say, though, which will probably make sense to answer the question, and I equate this a little differently. Playing in one of the biggest flag football leagues in the nation when I was in Chicago back home, some players typically bounce around, move around. You might win a championship here. You might win a championship there. It's not going to hit the same if you got it out the mud and you've been loyal to a specific group and you go through all of those things that build up to that moment. That success hitting at the peakest of the peaks, it's not going to hit the same as if you bounce around and you go get one with somebody that already had it together. And I think that's something that Devin Booker values. I mentioned in the chat, everybody wears their loyalty differently. And I think that's one of the most apparent things when it comes to Devin Booker. If you're looking at him and characterizing the things that you can see of him as a player.
And I hate that the conversation often shifts to like, well, if Devin Booker doesn't request a trade out from the Suns, he doesn't care about winning. Or if he requests a trade, then he doesn't care about the Suns. Like, loyalty looks different for everybody, and people's priorities in this league are different for everybody. I don't know why a guy should be villainized for wanting to win a championship here and giving everything to that, kind of like Dame was near the tail end of his time in Portland. People were saying like, oh, he's going to request a trade. He's going to request a trade, or, oh, he's dumb for waiting so long to, you know, being loyal to Portland for so long, when the guy liked living there. He liked playing there. He loved the fan base. He connected with all of that, and he wanted to do it there. Now, I think Booker has gotten a lot closer here in Phoenix than Dame did in Portland, so it's slightly different in that regard. But I see people in the chat comparing him to Mitch Richmond. There was the Reggie Miller comment. I don't think that Mitch Richmond or Reggie Miller ever got as close to winning an MVP, top 5 in voting, or as close to reaching that mountaintop. Were the same caliber of player that Devin Booker is. So I don't know. It really is kind of an unprecedented situation for me, because I don't think we've seen a player of Devin Booker's caliber stay with one team for their whole career and not win a title. He would be something of an anomaly in that regard.
Well, I also think that it's a little bit different now after the Dame situation, right? I mean, even like, Paul George and Indiana, right? Like, there are players who have either been traded or requested a trade, and the new situation hasn't always worked out for them. There are guys that go and they chase rings and they get rings. And there are guys that go and chase rings that don't, you know? And I think with the Damian Lillard situation where, you know, again, Dame didn't push for that, but for Book, let's say that in the back of his mind, hypothetically, he's going, well, maybe I do want to go check out another franchise. Maybe I do want to go try to win a championship. The Bucks at the time were, objectively speaking, in a much better position to win a championship, having a top 3 player in the world in Giannis, having already won a championship, even though that one didn't count because it was fake and didn't count. But you saw what happened to Dame. He goes there, injuries, the team itself doesn't work out. And then you get injured again after rushing back from an injury, and then the team cuts you. And then you go back home. You go back to where you were loved and cherished. And maybe seeing things like that puts this second thought in either side's mind, because I'm sure the Trailblazers are like, oh, well, you know, at a certain point, maybe we could have just kept him, even though they got a decent return for him. Like, I think that a story like that playing out in real time as Devin Booker enters his prime and enters this weird in-between years with the Suns might help keep him on that course if things get a little shaky over the next 2 years.
Yeah, that is the hope for sure. They need to show in this 1 year that they're taking tangible steps to getting back to contention. And I don't think it was a situation where the Suns gave him this extension to, you know, just keep him happy and Book was disgruntled behind the scenes. I didn't catch wind of anything like that. It was a pretty mutual decision that, like, this is what's best for both of us. The Suns realigning around Devin Booker, and Devin Booker kind of letting everyone know, like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere else. But it inevitably gets to a certain point for a lot of guys, for the vast majority of guys that play at that level. Book might be different in that regard, but you know, if they're a sub 30 win team over the next 2 years, maybe that equation changes. So there is pressure on the Suns to make sure that they build around him correctly, and that this younger group that they've assembled starts to come together and build to something. And there's also pressure on Booker from the Suns' perspective. Like, we're building this around you. You need to go back to being a top 10, you know, borderline MVP candidate for us to actually contend. Like, we don't have Kevin Durant. We don't have Bradley Beal anymore. It's all you and the pieces we've put around you. So there's a little bit of pressure on both sides, because that's just the nature of when you have a great player that should be contending for championships, that comes with the territory.
And you can't forget about, if you're comparing him to Kobe and to Dirk as far as being loyal to a specific team, even Tim Duncan, those franchises had to reinvent the wheel in multiple capacities to make it work. And specifically with Kobe, there was an inflection point where he was on a flight to another team. And that's the type of pressure that he had to apply to the franchise for them to understand that they weren't doing enough, or they hadn't done what they needed to appease him, to make him want to stay. They met him with the bag after that, after the phone call, brought more talent around him, and then you get what you got when he went from 8 to 24. But you don't get to that 24 portion of it without the inflection point. Maybe that's what we're headed towards now, potentially.
And Tim Duncan almost joined the Magic.
Yep.
I was going to say, I can't remember.
The only reason why he didn't is because the Magic weren't going to let him bring his family on team flights. And he said, all right, bye. I'll sign back with the Spurs. That's how close he was to leaving San Antonio.
And Dirk, remember how many people were saying that Dirk was an overrated star because he couldn't win a championship, and that the Mavs should get rid of him, or that he should go somewhere else. And then you have this rare breakthrough in 2011. If anything, if you're a Suns fan, you're kind of hoping for something like that, because Dirk was not in his athletic prime at that stage of his career. And that was a very unpredictable not just final series, but championship run. You're kind of hoping for something similar here in Phoenix, where, yeah, Devin Booker is maybe right in his prime or approaching the tail end of it in the next couple of years. But if you can build it around them and just have that type of Indiana Pacers last year, Dallas in 2011, we've seen a lot of teams make unpredictable runs to the finals. The Suns did it in 2021. You need another one of those if you want to climb that mountain.
Yeah, either Mark or Ted said it, but also mentioning that Dirk, at the latter part of his Mavericks career, did take pay cuts to help build a championship team around him. And that's the only reason why they were able to go win a championship in 2011, because Dirk was the best player on that team, but he was certainly past his prime. You have to build out a good team beyond that. You have to have a good front office. You have to have a good head coach as well. And that Mavs team is one of the deeper teams that we've seen, and how many guys actually truly made an impact on the biggest stage. That's the type of team that you would need if Devin Booker's at the end of his career, but we're not at that point. Devin Booker's not at the end of his career. If anything, Devin Booker should hopefully be getting better, especially with where the table has been set for him this upcoming season. But how do we get here? And why is it already impressive, the fact that he hasn't requested a trade in the first place? We've got some historical context, some stats, and some money graphics, and we're going to bring it all to you right after our final break. Speaking of money, Mountain America Credit Union opened in the 1930s with 100+ branches across Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Montana, and Nevada. They have over 1.2 million members, so why not join in on the fun and get the exclusive card of your Phoenix Suns. You can get these elite cards from the official credit union of the Phoenix Suns, available as both a debit and a credit card, and you can pair it for your debit card with the MyStyle checking account to unlock all the extra benefits that we've been telling you about here at PHNX, like telehealth access, loan rate discounts, and mobile phone protection. Plus, you could also get it in the credit card sense. So no annual fee credit cards available as low rate, cashback, or rewards card options. Plus, Mountain America, beyond the cards, are just here to help guide you in your financial journey. So get your Suns card today. Apply at any Arizona branch. Visit macu.com/Suns to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Loans are on approved credit. All right, let's keep it rolling with Circle K. And by rolling, I mean I roll into Circle K every single week, not just to fill up on gas, but to get maybe some electrolyte drinks, as I got to play in a men's league game tonight, and I'm going to be tired. And I love that I can get 3 Gatorade lights for $5 because I am a member of the Inner Circle, and I can fill up on gas for cheaper because I am a member of the Inner Circle. I can get exclusive flavors of Arizona iced tea, of Gatorades, of Primes, of Monster Energy drinks, all because I go to Circle K. And you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Make sure you put in your phone number, your email, and then you are done, and you can start saving money instantly. So join the Inner Circle for free. Download that Circle K app today. Terms, conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. Shout out Sean, Sunset City, Mark, Rao, Shumdog Millionaire.
No shout out for Rao.
What?
Absolutely no shout out for Rao.
He said
What
no
did he say?
acknowledgement for the
I wasn't
trolls.
reading.
There's always something negative with Rao.
Oh,
We don't got to
Not giving him no time. On this
never
show,
mind,
so-
Rao. Sorry, Rao.
Hi, Boom
No.
Shakalaka.
Hey, by the way, Sunset City saying, what's up? First time in a long time been able to catch a live stream. So
Nice.
that
We
is
got
good
Sunset
to see you.
City. We got Ashley in
Appreciate
here
you.
for the first time in a while. Appreciate you guys all being here with us and being active in the chat.
And shout out to our audio listeners. Thank you all so much for listening on audio. I know especially during the summer, a lot of psychos and sickos tap in on the audio side of things. So we see you.
Mhm.
We hear you just like you hear us. Keep running. Keep lifting. Go faster if you're driving.
Hey, first time peeps, definitely hit the chat.
Don't listen to this man.
This man's
I'm
wild.
over here busy giving thumbs up to audio listeners that they can't hear.
Yeah,
You're
man.
telling them to drive
For you
faster.
first time YouTube watchers,
Mhm.
definitely tell the chat how y'all found out about us.
Yeah.
I think those are always fun little stories that we can give you some attention for and welcome you a little more formally with as well. So definitely do that.
And Boom Shakalaka asked me a very important question as a New Mexican, red or green chili. The answer is both.
Yes. You're right,
Correct.
Gerald. That's my bad. I should not have told him to speed down. Slam on your brakes. Slam on them now.
Oh, my
Not slam on
God.
them. Somebody's in front of you. Slam on your
This is
brakes.
going to be a terrible lawsuit that we're going to have on our hands.
Oh, fit in perfectly.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
This guy.
Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Low-hanging legal fruit. Let's talk. Let's take a look at how we got to this
Wait.
point.
Become a diehard today.
Oh, there we go.
$36 sale for football starting up. Go phnx.com/join. Diehards get a free drink to the PHNX Cardinals residency tomorrow. Okay, sorry, I'm done. Where were we?
All he took from your well-written article was that he should try to put himself in a similar situation.
I want to be like Matt
Okay.
Ishmael.
This
Oh
man.
my God.
This man.
I don't claim this man as my own.
Oh, wait. Give him the one shot. Give him the one shot.
Yeah, give me the one shot.
I'm still here.
Get out of here.
You can't get rid of me,
Get out of here. Let's take a look at how we got to this point with Devin
I always
Booker.
gave you an elbow. You get that close to.
We've got a nice little visual graphic for you on how
Don't sue me.
we
please.
got here. Devin Booker is entering year 11, and including this year's roster, he has now had 134 different teammates over his 11 seasons, and that's not including ones that they might add through trade or guys that they might sign. If Jared Butler makes the roster, it goes to 135. He's had 8 different head coaches, including Jordan Ott, 3 different general managers, including Brian Gregory, 2 different team owners, and he has played in the Suns arena long enough for it to have 4 different names, starting with Talking Stick Resort, then it was Phoenix Suns Arena, then Footprint Center, and now it's PHX Arena, with probably a 5th one on the way here soon when someone buys the rights. But the thing that jumps out to, like, okay, yes, the coaches, it's like there's less job stability with the Suns head coaching position than like Defense Against the Dark Arts professor at Hogwarts. But like, if you look at the number of teammates that he's had, there's only 15 roster spots on an NBA roster. This is an average of like 12 new teammates per season. And even if you include like the 2-way contracts, that's only been a thing for the last couple of years. That's an insane amount of roster turnover. Absolutely bonkers.
Also, that doesn't count the 15 times that Torrey Craig has been on the roster, or guys that have been signed over and over again and brought back, right? Like Jordan Goodwin is back. He only counts on that once, you know? So I think it's very, very telling that this guy's been through a lot, Steven. You don't see many NBA careers that have been in the trajectory of Devin Booker's.
You really don't. That's what makes the situation such a unique one, which Gerald's mentioned, and I think we've all mentioned at multiple points. The chart, just to look at the chart
It's
itself,
so crazy,
and to contextualize things says a lot. It says a whole lot, and it also speaks to why so many resonate with Booker being the face that they most recognize with the Suns logo and the franchise as a whole, because of the loyalty through so many different years, so many highs and lows. The one common denominator, consistent piece, has been one.
And I mean, even that was a bar.
It happens like that.
I really do think that the fact that we're sitting here and that we're looking at this, nobody's had more coaches in his time as in the NBA than Devin Booker. I would guarantee you, besides players that have switched teams, nobody has played under that many different arena names. He's a rare player to undergo an ownership change while he's still staying on the franchise and survive through that. Literally the only guy from the 2021 finals run that's still on the roster. And to get there, went through some of the lowest of lows you've ever seen an NBA franchise get to, literally leading to this franchise getting the only #1 pick that they've ever had. And then I'm not going to say they butchered it fully, because that guy anchored your center position on a finals run, but they clearly missed the mark on a couple all-time greats. And where you stand now, it'd be nice to have them. Right? Like, this guy has gone through the absolute ringer. And part of what you were saying, Steven, where it was like, man, you know, when you get it out the mud with your team, right? And that's how it felt in 2021, right? Let alone now, 4 years later. Like, it really, really, really makes a difference. And I really think that's what's driving Devin Booker, is because for his entire career, people either told him he's not good enough, he's chasing empty stats, he's not even, you know, he's not good enough to be a starter, he's not an all-star, he's a blah, blah, blah. He proved them wrong. He made it to the finals, tasted that victory, and then said, damn, when he lost it, right? He's reached the high heights with teammates, but now he's getting doubted again, all with one franchise. If he can turn around and win this franchise their first championship, which I also think plays into this, he will be one of the biggest legends in NBA history if he leads the Suns to a championship. That counts for like 5 if he wins a championship here.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that's part of the discussion that has to be factored in, because people talk about, oh, loyalty's overrated or it doesn't matter in the NBA. It does when you've been through that graphic that we just brought up. And some people are going to point to that as like, well, there's one common denominator. That is the dumbest basic logic that you can take out of that.
Because most people know what common denominator means.
They probably don't. But if you can look at that graphic and your takeaway is not there needs to be consistency around Devin Booker moving forward, I don't know what we're doing here. Like, that's kind of the whole point of this, is he's had nearly a new head coach every year. He's had 3 different general managers. And like I looked this up just now, LeBron James in his career, which has lasted a lot more seasons than Devin Booker and a lot more different franchises, has only had 241 teammates. Book has 134 with the same franchise in about half the amount of time. Like, that really speaks volumes to the instability, especially early in his career, how quickly they were shuffling through basically G League players for the first 5 years of his career. And now how it has constantly changed from one iteration to another. And so I think if you're looking at this current roster, you really hope that you hit on Jalen Green, that Mark Williams can stay healthy, that these rookies are going to be able to contribute in the next couple of years. Because if they're not, you're going to see more turnover. And there needs to be the opposite of that. There needs to be a head coach who stays here for as long as Monty Williams, if not longer. There needs to be teammates who prove that they can be good fits next to Devin Booker that don't get traded or that don't sign somewhere else. Like, you need stability. You need to build something the right way. That's what the Suns have spent all offseason talking about. And now you really have to hope that the pieces that you've assembled either fit that description or are pieces that you can turn into guys that fit it as well.
How many players on this current roster right now do we think are still on the roster by the end of the year? Devin Booker.
Yeah, Devin Booker.
Ryan Dunn,
Jalen Green.
And what's your confidence level that Jalen Green's on the roster by the end of the year?
It's pretty high. He would have to be either really good and you could turn him into something even better in one season, or he'd have to be really bad, at which point what's his trade value even going to be? So I would be surprised if he's not on the roster by the end of the season. I think the rookies will still probably be here. Same with Dunn, unless they're throw-in pieces to a bigger trade. But again, the Suns don't have draft picks, so those guys might be more expendable. It's tough to say. I'd probably say like 10 is maybe probably where I'd put it.
Grayson and Royce Steven, I think, are probably the top of people's mind when it comes to trades. Who knows if Mark Williams will still be on the roster? I assume so. What do you think? Is there any other name floated in there? It's like, I don't know if they'll be here by the end of the year.
That won't be here by the end of the year? I thought the question was who would be here.
Yeah, but I think it's a majority of them would be here, so who wouldn't?
I mean, I think we've named all the most likely names to not be here anymore.
Yeah, it's probably Grayson, it's probably Royce, it's probably Nick are the guys that you're looking at as the most expendable. And if you do happen to, broach a trade with a higher asset level than something that Royce and Grayson can get you, you might have to include one of the younger guys if you want to get it done, because you don't have first-round picks.
So what do we think Devin Booker needs to see from the Suns this season in order to walk away satisfied? Is it wins and losses? Is it development from the young guys? Is it his own personal, achievements and getting back to the book that we know and we love? What do we think will satisfy Devin Booker at the end of this season?
I think it just has to be a team that plays to an identity. Like, even if they only win 30-some games, I do think there's a bar. Like, if they lose or if they win fewer than 30 games, I think maybe some alarm bells go off internally. But I think it's just a team that plays to an identity. I think there needs to be trust in the head coaching situation, because if you look at the last few head coaches, it's been one and dones, guys losing the locker room by December and January. You can't have that again, especially when you're touting this younger, cutting edge mind to kind of be someone who can be here for the long haul. I think you need Jalen Green and Book to work out. I think Mark Williams has to stay healthy. And I think you need to see tangible progress from the young guys from the start of the year to the end of the year. I don't know how many wins that's going to translate to, but you need to see a team that actually plays a certain way, that plays with an edge, and that actually has fun on the court together, because that key ingredient has been missing for years in Suns basketball now.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen what it looks like, and it's not always going to look the same as far as it getting to that finish line of being a finals or contending level team, but there's a certain type of feel that those teams have. I imagine he's going to be looking for that feeling, at least remnants of it, that can then be pieced together as a foundation for ultimately that to come somewhere down the line. But I can't say I like the framing of the question, because to see a culture and identity and a style of play, that means he has to be an active participant. So if I was answering that question, I would reword it and then give my answer, but that is what that is. Yeah.
Reword it,
if he wants to see those pieces, he has to play an integral piece to it. He is the franchise player.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's an issue, but I'm just saying if that's the question, I got to rephrase it to answer it the way that I feel like it should be. But if it is, what are people looking for, or what is he looking for from the Suns? Skill development from guys, things that are independent of him. What are we doing on a daily basis? Are guys like Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro playing like 2-on-2s where they're working on team switching against us or cross-matching us, and how we can find solutions that build an offensive formula around all of the talent that is Devin Booker? Are we working on using flare screens and different things like that to open up space for him to operate more one-on-ones and not one-on-threes and one-on-fours because the defense is shrinking the floor and committing to him? Little things like that. Jordan Knott, how well are you kind of developing the things that you need to as a coach from the sideline that are going to then put the pieces as well as Devin Booker in a position to be their best selves? Like, if that's the question, and I'm answering it a little bit differently than team-oriented, more so factions of the team, but if it is that specific question and we're talking about identity and culture, he's got to be as integral as anybody not named Jordan Knott to that.
I'll join you in critiquing my question, because one of the things I said is, what do you think Devin Booker would be satisfied with when he walks out of the season? And I think Mark said it right. I don't know if there's any way that Devin Booker walks away from the season satisfied unless they really do shock the world. And, I think even a deep playoff run for Book. Like, Book wants to win a championship. And I don't think that Devin Booker will be satisfied at the end of any season until he walks away with a ring. Genuinely. Obviously, there are many, many steps in between that to where the Suns are now and winning a championship. So I don't think he's going to walk away satisfied from this season unless they win a ring. So he's not walking away satisfied. But I do think he just needs to feel comfortable about next season and being better and feeling like there's a runway for him and for the team to be mutually beneficial and for him to lift everybody up, but to know that if I'm going to go out there and average 30 and 10, right, it's not going to be for a team that can't do anything without me. It's like, I'm going to be the main part of the team, but I'm only going to be part of the team because there is no winning a championship with just one guy. Right, I've got to feel comfortable and confident in the front office also to capitalize on this situation. What do you think the Suns need to see from Book this season? I know that Matt Ishbia has been very, very public and out there, along with the entire front office, in saying that Devin Booker is their guy. They're not shopping Devin Booker. They don't want to trade Devin Booker, and it's been that way for a long time. But we saw with the Dame situation, at the end of the day, this is the franchise's decision to make. So what do you need to see if you're in the Suns organization from Devin Booker this year and beyond to feel comfortable that this partnership will still be fruitful?
Well, that's why I wanted to include this talking point in the discussion, because I think to Steven's point, it's not just about what Devin Booker sees from his teammates. It's about what the Suns get from Devin Booker, because we've all talked about this. He has to go back to being a top 5, top 10 player in the league, or someone having a top 5 season, whatever you want to call that. And he hasn't been that for a while now. So they're going to need a return to form for Devin Booker, because if we bring up his contract breakdown here, they're paying him a substantial amount of money. And we have the percentage of the salary cap on the right, because I want people to see that the actual increase in what they're paying Devin Booker as a portion of a salary cap does not increase by that much. If you go from this season to 2029, 2030, that's only an increase of like 1.7% total from where they are now. So you're going to see 53 million become around 69 million. These are estimates, but it is a substantial portion of your salary cap devoted to one player. And by the time 2029 rolls around, that's a lot of money to be paying an aging player who's 32 or so years old. So I think for me, Devin Booker has to go back to being that guy starting this season. I think he has to age well. And I think at a certain point, you have to have a piece next to him that can kind of take over the mantle, especially as he's in his early 30s, because I think Reggie Miller was a good example earlier in the chat. When he did make the finals, he was not the best player on the team. He was not that guy anymore. The whole thing was, let's win one for Uncle Reggie. Like, you kind of need players around Devin Booker that by the time he's in his age 32, 33 seasons, if he hasn't won one yet, it's let's win one for Uncle Book.
Mm-hmm. And to that point, Gerald, by the time he gets to there in his career, hopefully if the franchise has worked with him to put him in the best spot, he will do something with the franchise in order for the team to be better, because you can't commit $60+ million to somebody who isn't a top 10 player in the NBA. Steven, what do you think Devin Booker needs to do for the Suns over the next couple of years in order for this to be a partnership that continues?
Yeah, I've never been one to challenge or characterize or critique his leadership, but I think that with this newfound opportunity, it's gonna take for him to be willing to and be comfortable with getting uncomfortable in the leadership forum. Maybe doing some things on the daily habit side, showing up to practice and making some extra efforts that he typically hasn't needed to or hasn't had to for whatever reasons. Maybe doing some of those things and going about it just a little bit differently, because this is a brand new context for him. This is not something that he's necessarily been a part of before in this specific type with a brand new coach, so many different moving pieces and things like that. The other big thing for me with him is building a relationship with Jordan Ott. Maybe one that I think he's had his best relationship with Monty Williams. I think that's rather safe to say. Don't want to compare the two coaches, but can you rekindle something unique to your relationship with Jordan Ott that allows for you to reap the benefits as an individual, but as a team to reap the benefits of the franchise player and the coach being #aligned? I think those things would matter significantly. You can talk about other things in his individual game, but I feel like this is more so on the doing something new part of things for me more than anything else.
And I do think the game will speak for himself. I believe Devin Booker is going to have a great upcoming season. Whether it leads to team success or not, that is still yet to be seen. And that's why we're talking here in the offseason. So let us know what you think about Devin Booker, his future with the Suns, and how they feel about Devin Booker and what you imagine 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. Is Book a Sun for the rest of his life? Is that what you want? Is that what you don't want? Well, you can let us know down in the comments below. Appreciate all of you tapping in with us here on a Wednesday. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Become a diehard for just $36 today and gophnx.com/join. You get all sorts of incredible access, including our diehard Discord, an ad-free experience with all the unlocked articles from Gerald on our website. With the deal now, you get a football club shirt since football is back, plus so much more while being a diehard. Go to gophnx.com/join to get all of those details. Until then, you can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate the Freckled Mamba behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. You can follow him at Freckled Mamba. Of course, you can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with a PH because he balances us out. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. We will talk to you with hopefully no technical difficulties tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.